Welcome to Special Stories History Flix. Have you already left a like? See the complete story to help the channel grow. Have you ever wondered how much a life is worth? How much would you be willing to pay for your next breath and for the life of your loved one? And if your life depended solely on that, do you think a life should be subject to a cipher? Unfortunately, in this world, it is possible to find individuals who spare no effort to accumulate wealth, even if it means leaving others in inhumane situations. Dieter was born into a rich and influential family. His parents were successful doctors who owned several clinics around the city. Dieter always had everything he wanted, from expensive toys to the best private schools in the world. Despite having everything he wanted, his parents always taught him the value of work and dedication. They encouraged him to get good grades and strive to achieve his goals. At school, Dieter was an exemplary student who always stood out for his intelligence and effort. He did whatever it took to win and was very competitive. At the age of 16, he discovered his passion for medicine and decided to become a doctor, just like his parents. After finishing high school with honors, Dieter was accepted to the best medical university in the country. He studied hard and quickly graduated with excellent grades. During his college years, Dieter met Grace, a young woman from high society who shared the same interests and values. They got married shortly after graduation, and it didn't take long for Samuel, the couple's first child, to be born, bringing them great joy. Dieter had big ambitions and wanted to build a renowned medical institution that would offer the best care to his patients. So, he decided to open his own hospital, financed with the help of his parents. The hospital had doctors of different specialties and quickly gained fame and prestige, attracting patients from all over the country. Success was evident, and the fortune that the hospital generated was enormous. The Medina family was living an increasingly luxurious life, full of privileges. However, along with all this success, Dieter started leaving the less profitable services in the last plan. He even ordered his employees to attend to patients only after confirmation of payment, causing embarrassment. The death of a man without financial resources was just the beginning of a series of events that would forever change the life of that doctor. Dieter Medina's strict rules would have unimaginable consequences for his personal and professional life. The news of the man's death spread quickly throughout the city, causing indignation and revolt. Groups of activists for human rights organized protests in front of Dieter's hospital, demanding justice and equality in medical care. The doctor's attitude became an agenda for the press that did not let go of the situation. In several newspapers and programs, in a television interview, Dieter tried to defend himself, claiming that he needed to charge more than some patients to maintain the quality of care and invest in state-of-the-art equipment. Elderly, children, or pregnant women were not exempt from Dieter's strict rules. Dieter then decided to get one of his best lawyers to speak on his behalf. He was a specialist in dealing with the press and knew exactly how to answer tough questions and how to protect his client's image. With the help of this lawyer, Dieter managed to stifle the repercussions of the case. But even after everything that happened, the doctor didn't change his mind about money. He was still greedy and just wanted more and more. Years passed quickly, and everything was going perfectly well. The hospital's business continued with great profit, making the Medina family increasingly rich and powerful. Dieter was very excited, and the atmosphere was festive. After all, his dear son was about to turn 18. Samuel always was the pride of the family, a young man full of life, cheerful, and very intelligent. He had the same interests as his father, and he was very similar to Vitor. The two had a great relationship since he was little. Vitor taught him some things about medicine and always encouraged him to study and pursue his dreams. Samuel, in turn, admired his father and wanted to follow in his footsteps as a surgeon. But little did he know, soon everything would change. The next morning, everyone woke up excited. After all, Samuel was completing his 18th birthday. A big party was held, and the young man was surrounded by friends with lots of love, music, drinks, and fun all night long. The sun was about to come out when the party came to an end. As soon as all the guests left, Peter decided to close that moment with a golden key. He had prepared a big surprise for his dear son, a surprise he would never forget. He presented Samuel with an imported car. It was a model of the boy's dreams. Samuel was deeply moved and grateful for his father's gesture. Excited about his new toy, and with the key in hand, the young man wanted it immediately. At every turn, the young man felt butterflies in his stomach, increasing even more the adrenaline that ran through his veins at increasing speed, and the feeling of power was a true invitation to freedom. But in a blink of an eye, everything changed. Samuel lost control of the car and left the road at high speed. The impact noise was so strong that the crash was heard throughout that region, which was a little busy place. But luckily, a few minutes later, a driver passing by the road noticed the tire signs on the track and saw the car all dented. Immediately upon entering the hospital, while the nurses ran in search of a mark for the boy, the driver who rescued him provided some information, and believing he had left the young man in good hands, he left following his path with the feeling after having done his part. Samuel was disoriented with a lot of pain and difficulty breathing. His condition was serious, and with the impact, his face was unrecognizable. Rose, the nurse in charge of the emergency department of the hospital, immediately started caring for the boy. He was very confused and couldn't remember anything, not even his own name, so he couldn't notify the family and start medical care as soon as possible. Nurse Rose looked for the young man's documents, but couldn't find them. So, she immediately called the chief surgeon to ask for his help. However, the surgeon feared to follow the strict protocol established by Dr. Vitor and refused to perform the treatment, since there was still no option to pay. Realizing the seriousness of the situation and the risk of losing the patient, the nurse decided to act on her own and called directly to Dr. Victor's cell phone. Desperate, the nurse explained the situation to him and asked the doctor to make an exception for that young man who was in agony fighting for his life. Worried, she stressed that if an emergency surgery was not done now, by the light of the next day, that young man would no longer see the cold sympathy. The doctor replied that he could not do anything without the guarantee of payment because there were no charity hospitals, and with arrogance, he ended the call, saying that if the worst happened, it was for her not to worry. Worry because he himself would sign the boy's death certificate. With a sinking heart, the nurse was watching the boy. She felt suffocating anguish for not being able to help. Only surgery could save that boy. Indignant with the situation, she thought about resigning the next day because she couldn't endure the rules of that hospital, and she didn't want to be conniving with all that. A few minutes passed without anything being done, and after a sad moan, Samuel took his last breath. The police quickly arrived with the documents, but every minute that passed was decisive. As soon as the nurse had access to the documents, she almost fell backwards. She was in a state of shock and could not believe that the young man was actually Samuel, the son of Dr. Victor Medina. When being notified of his son's death, the doctor felt his world collapse. The shock and pain were so intense that remorse almost killed him. Because of him, his son was no longer there. He then realized that because of his greed and lack of humanity, in the saddest, painful way, he learned the value of life. Now, there was no fortune or status that could bring his beloved son back. After that terrible day, the doctor reflected on his actions. He realized that no amount of money would be enough to plug the hole that had formed in his soul. Today, Dr. Victor Medina dedicates his life to helping those less fortunate by offering free care. He knows he can never bring his son back, but hopes that through his work, he can make a positive difference in the world and prevent other families from going through the same pain he went through. Do to others what you would not want them to do to you. Thanks for watching. Comment below what you think. Think about this story and let us know which city you are watching us from. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our Story Flix Brazil channel so that together we can build a huge community that shares inspiring stories even more.